The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are really glad you could join us today for this webinar where we'll be going over VE101, or just kind of the basics of visible equity. But we're really glad that you could join us today and hope everyone's doing well. To begin with, just wanted to let you know that you can ask questions. We'd love questions, especially in these one-on-one trainings where we might have some new clients or clients with less experience. Would love to hear what questions are in your mind, and the best way to do that is through the chat functionality. So if you look at your GoToWebinar chat box, there'll be a place where you can enter a question. And my name's Ian Dunn. I'm the VP of Products here at Visible Equity. I'll be monitoring that chat. So and we do have one question already, which is a common one. So thank you, Nancy. We will definitely be recording this webinar. If all goes well, we have hit the record button, and hopefully it will record just fine. And then we will be posting this to the website, so you can review it later, or if you need to leave, you can review it later. So to begin with, let's in fact try out that chat functionality. So I've got a quiz for you, and of course we're going to have a prize. So the winner of this quiz is going to get their choice of swag from our swag store. So if you can see the screen okay, you can choose between bags, books, bottles, hats. Winner gets their choice, and you can just email us your choice after. But the question is this. So this year, Rob, who will be presenting today, has been touring the country, going to user groups. How many user groups has he attended so far in 2016 as of today? First person to chat me the correct answer wins their choice of swag. Got some really close ones.
People are just guessing.
Yeah, they are. Okay, we got a winner. We got a winner. Okay. Walter has the correct answer. So Rob has gone to 13 user groups so far this year. And how many more, Rob? Do you have four more?
Four more to come. So we still have 4 on the schedule this year. This is on our homepage. So we have one in Atlanta, Fort Mill, South Carolina, Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm really disappointed I have to go to this one. And then Gainesville, Florida. And so if you're in Georgia, the Carolinas, Hawaii, or Florida and are not registered, feel free to do so. But we have really enjoyed going around to 13 user groups so far and visiting all of you.
Very good. So in 2017, we're excited about a new training source. We're going to hold training camps. These are going to be intensive training camps. We're going to hold 3, maybe 4 sessions, and they're going to be 2-day intensive camps. More information on that will be coming out in the next week or so, but we're excited for those. So I look forward to that. Anything else housekeeping items we want to go over before we jump in?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I'll turn the time over to Rob. Rob is the VP of Client Success here at Visible Equity. I'm sure you all know him well. And he'll be conducting the training. But again, please feel free to ask any questions that you have, and I'll interrupt Rob, and we'll go from there.
All right, thanks, Ian, and thanks to all of you for being here. And right now you're looking at the Visible Equity homepage. So if you log into Visible Equity, you'll see this homepage. This will be the first thing you see. And today I'll be going over a lot of the functionality and the basics of Visible Equity. you may not know every single little detail of every single report in visible equity after this training, but you should know the basics and know enough to be dangerous and run reports in visible equity. And so you'll see at the top here, visible equity's base products. And so we have loan analytics, we have a loans beta product that we're going to be showing later, application analytics, customer analytics, and deposit analytics. So these are the base products, and they're base products because they all can be a unique data source. And so for those of you that are brand new to visible equity, we receive data files from our clients, typically on a monthly basis, sometimes weekly or daily in the case of applications. But we receive data files on your loans, customers, deposits, applications, etc. And we aggregate that data, we warehouse it, and then provide visualization and analytics on that data. So that's the bread and butter of visible equity: loan data warehousing, visualization, and then analytics on your data. Now we also have add-on products as well that add additional analysis to the base data that you've already sent to us. So we have advanced loan analytics, allowance for credit loss or CECL, fair lending analytics, peer analytics, and credit bureau integration. And so with the credit bureau integration, what this means is we're partnered with all three credit bureaus, and TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, and we can facilitate the process of receiving updated credit bureau data from each of these bureaus. Most of these other products are self-explanatory, I think, and if you as an institution are subscribed to the product, it will be blue. So in this demo set I'm looking at today, everything's blue, but if you're not subscribed to that product yet, it's gray. And so if you're interested in learning more about some of these add-on products or non-loan related products, then feel free to reach out. We will not be covering those in today's webinar, but we certainly have material and resources to show you information on that. Now, real quickly, up at the top, there are a few things you should know. First is that there's a settings area, and if you're a portfolio admin, this is where you can add and delete users, adjust grading tiers, map your different loan types. Every individual, whether you're an admin or just a standard user, you can change your password, all that jazz here in the settings section. The support section is where you can submit tickets or cases to our support team. If you have questions on your data or functionality of different reports, we're happy to help you through a ticket. And so you just submit a ticket here, and then you can state your question, fill in more details, assign a priority, and we will answer that as quickly as possible. Now there's also a training section here where you can schedule training at any time. There's no cost to these trainings, and depending on the region of the country you're in, you can click on your area and book a time, and our calendar appears here, and it includes all of the available training times. And so, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to learn a lot today about the basics of visible equity, but this will all be on a demo set. And so if you're interested in meeting with us one-on-one and reviewing your own data, we'd be happy to do this in the next few weeks, and so feel free to flood us with training requests. We'd be happy to meet with you. Now, going back to the home page here, another section is managed data. And in this managed data section, this is where you can view the files that have been uploaded. There's some reconciliation tools. We have other webinars that are recorded and posted that go into the details of data reconciliation, but this is where you can view the data that's been uploaded. You can also upload data files to visible equity from this area of the site, and you simply just choose the file from your computer, choose the date of the data, and hit upload. Now let's get to the exciting stuff. So we're going to look at loan analytics. So I can drill down the loan analytics here, and the first thing you'll see is this landing page that's in the tutorial and help section that shows a basic video of how you navigate the site. We have a number of different tutorial videos and archive webinars, and also some technical papers. And so if you have questions on how visible equity is doing updated collateral valuations, or how our grading works, or how our probability of default models work, this is a great area for you to be able to read the more details of how those more complex algorithms and models work. Now, within the visible equity in this loan section, you'll see this left sidebar that shows all of the different types of reports we have. So there are executive summary reports, position reports, which are concentration and grading type reports, performance reports, cover delinquency and charge-off, profitability and statistic reports. You've got migration and trending reports, static pool, and other. And so this is where you start in visible equity. You choose a report. And I'm going to start off with this executive summary report. And so you select the report on the left side, and then on the right side you'll see this report appear. And so one thing to note here is on the left side you see the data that's being viewed in the report. And so in the sample portfolio, which is bigger than some of yours and smaller than others, but should still be applicable to you, there are 33,000 loans for an aggregate balance of $429 million. And then on the right side here, I see a grade summary. This is a visible equity risk grade that we calculate based on the credit score, LTV if it's a secured loan. You take into account the delinquency status. If it's a commercial real estate loan, we're looking at debt service coverage ratios and internal risk rating. So there's a lot that goes into this overall grade calculation. It simply shows a distribution within the different grades in your portfolio. Now you can see quick performance summary information and loan information too. So step one is to choose a report from the left sidebar. Now step two is to filter the data to potentially isolate a specific portion of your portfolio. And so if you click on loan data filter here, we've got predefined categories so you can drill down to a very specific subset of your portfolio. So I could drill down to just the real estate loans, or more specifically first mortgages. I could go to consumer loans, and in this case let's go to all consumer loans. Now the left sidebar changed here, so I can see an updated account and a balance, and now this report, this executive summary report, reflects the data that's been selected in the filter. Now when you have a filter in place and you jump to a new report, the filter sticks with it. And so if I click on position reports and go to concentration/grading, then I have a new report here on the right side, but this filter that I selected stayed in place. And so really, as you're generating the reports, the first two steps, to recap here, are to select your report type and then define your data set using this filter. Now once you've chosen the report that you want to view, like this concentrations report, there are a few different areas that you can tweak to customize the report. And so the first one are the stratification options. And so this is how you segment your data. And you can segment the data by any data point that you send to us, essentially. And so if you want to break it out by, let's say, auto dealers, if you're looking at your indirect portfolio, or different borrower characteristics, or credit scores, or LTV information, or origination information, you name it, you can separate the portfolio by any of these data points. And so I'm going to stick on subcategory here. Now you can see here within each of these standard visible equity subcategories what the total balance is as of December 31st, and you can change the date from the top section here. You can see what this is as a percent of the filtered balance, and so I can see that within my consumer lending portfolio, 63% of that is in used auto. Now I can see the percent of the portfolio balance. So this is looking at not just what's in the filter, but everything in the portfolio. And I can see that used auto makes up 42% of that portfolio balance. Now also I can see the percent of total assets and net worth. Two notes on this. Oftentimes you'd use this report to look at your policy limits. And we want to make sure that we get your policy limit categories, or how you just like to report your data and organize your data, into the right groupings. And so Visible equity has our standard categories and subcategories. Yours may look a little different internally. And so if you want to send us a spreadsheet through that ticketing system I showed you that has a list of all of your individual type codes or type descriptions and the corresponding category or subcategory, then we can create custom lines of business or custom policy limit categories very easily. Now, so that's the first note. The second one is if your policy limit is as a percent of total assets or a percent of net worth, then you need to make sure to update these figures on a monthly basis. And you can do that through the settings section, or you can just click on edit underneath this report and then edit month by month, or adding a new month, what your institution's total assets and net worth are as of that month end. So visible equity will pull in this information, the total assets and net worth figures, on about a quarterly basis through the call report data, but we recommend that you do this on a monthly basis. Now, going back to this concentrations report, something else that you can adjust is the format in which you view the data. And so right now we're looking at this in a table view. You can also view this data in a chart. And so we've got pie charts, bar charts, donut charts, and stacked column charts. It depends on the report you're viewing which charts are available. But let's look at a bar chart now. And so now I can view this basic concentration data by subcategories in a chart. Now I'm going to go back to the standard table view and show you how you can use a double stratification. And so as my secondary stratification option, I'm going to select credit score. Now you'll notice that we're first segmenting the data by the subcategory in black, and then the credit score tiers are in blue here. And this is a nice looking report, but depending on how many different subcategories you have, or maybe if you choose zip code or city, something more granular, this can be a very long report. I always like to view double stratification tables in this, or reports in this matrix table view. And so if you click on tables and then matrix, the format of the report will change. And so you can see your subcategories along the rows, the credit scores in this case along the columns. And so now I can see a distribution within each subcategory across each of the different credit score tiers. As a side note here, these credit score tiers are also customizable, and so we want to make sure that these are matching your internal credit score tiers, and so you can let us know through a support ticket, and we'll get that taken care of. Now you can also adjust the show options, and so if you click on show, you can click on count, and then bam, the counts are showing here. One of my favorite views is the percent of row balance. And so now I can see that each row is equal to 100%. And so 27% of my used auto portfolio has an A+ grade compared to 41% of the new auto, 18% and other secured consumer, etc. So there's a ton of flexibility within this matrix view where you can look at everything from delinquency numbers to exposure or loss given default, and really just you can make this very simple or very complex depending on which data points you're showing here. Now, let's say you find a report that you like a lot. So you want to look at this report that shows a distribution, not only the balance, but the distribution across each column. So I can save any of these reports, and then I don't have to worry about recreating the wheel every time. So I'm going to call this concentrations grading matrix by subcategory and credit score. And this is specifically for the consumer portfolio. And so as you save a report, it will save the filter that you have in place, the show options, and as well as the stratification options. You can choose to share saved reports with others at your institution or keep it private. And then you can also save it to specific folders, and you can create your own folder system here. So I'm going to save this report. Now you'll notice that the title of the report will change to look specifically, and it will show the title that I named it. So this is pretty lengthy. You may want to come up with something more simple. But I can now see that this is in a saved format. It can be edited, it can be exported, any report can be exported. You can delete saved reports. But my main point here is that if you have a report that you like, save it. And so that's the other way that you can build or view reports. I showed you all of these other sections earlier of our different report types. There's also an entire section called Saved Reports, where you'll see your institution's unique saved reports in this Custom Reports area. So here's this new one that I just created. Visible Equity also has a library of its own saved reports, and so I can click on any category of loans, whether it's on the entire portfolio, just the consumer auto portfolio, indirect or residential real estate, and then we've got a slew of reports. I think there are over 150 saved reports just within loans. And so rather than building a report from scratch, you can always use Visible Equity saved reports. And let's say I go to this residential real estate concentrations by LTV, the saved report will show up, and I can see just the residential real estate portfolio stratified by these different LTV tiers. I'm going to go back to this concentrations report, and we're still on the saved report view. Let's change this, and I'm going to look at just the entire real estate portfolio stratified by subcategory. Now there are 3 levels of reports. So there's a very high level report, which you've seen, but then you can also drill down to a list of loans. So if anything that you see in blue is a hyperlink, so if I click on first mortgages here, this will take me to a list of all the first mortgages within the portfolio as of this data date. From this list view, there are a few different features. First of all, you can customize which columns you'd like to see or which data elements you'd like to view in this list. So I can click on Show and custom select fields, then specifically choose which data points I want to view. So maybe I want to add the branch to this list view. I simply move it from the left side to the right side, and now I'll see on the far right this new data field that's showing. Now you can also sort by any data field as well. So maybe I want to sort by the current LTV, and I'll go highest to lowest here. And so now within this real estate portfolio, I can see the highest real estate loans, LTVs, to the lowest, and then I can export this list to Excel. So this export is custom CSV. This will show exactly the columns that you selected in this report. This export as CSV standard will just be a big data dump of every related data point that you sent to us. Now the third layer of report, so we already showed the high level report, the list view, and then we also have a specific loan detail. So I can click on a loan ID, and this will take me to a detail page that gives me a summary of everything we know about this loan. And so I can see the classification of the loan, so down to the type code, the category and subcategory. I can see different grading that's been applied to this loan. I can see basic characteristics, delinquency history, what the loss given default would be. We've got LTV information. We've got this collateral information. So we're looking at Ian's home here that was valued at $1.8 million in 2000. Oh, that's your guest home. Yeah. Okay, my bad. In 2008, and then you can see here that we've provided an updated collateral value. So this is decreased by 20% for an updated value of $381,000. So let's look at something a little bit more realistic than Ian's guest home here. Let's go to one with a little bit of a lower balance, and that originated back in 2007. So I'll drill down to this other detail page, drill down to this collateral section. So you can see in this case, this home originated in Salt Lake City, Utah in 2007 with a value of $299,000. Since then, it's depreciated by 2.48% down to $291,000. So this original appraisal would be a value that you'd send to Visible Equity in your data file. We take that data point, and if you look at this value history, we're able to adjust that over time. And so we're looking at, you can see at the very end of this graph, it's above the original value. We're viewing this data as of December 2015, so that's why it's a bit lower here. But how visible equity calculates these updated values is we look at the MSA, we look at the address and determine the metropolitan statistical area that address falls in. Then we follow an index approach. So we take data from two different indices, the Case-Shiller index and the FHFA index, and based on repeat sales data, we're able to determine within a specific area how home values have changed over any given period of time. And so I mentioned that by default we look at the MSA level and look at the Case-Shiller and the FHFA indices. We do have a new valuation model that looks at a more granular level, and so it goes down to the zip code, and it's using a Zillow index. So it's not just pulling a straight Zillow value, it is looking at an index based on, and will adjust your original value based on the trend line within this index, and that's a zip code level. And so if you're interested in learning more about that zip code index or switching over to that, let us know and we can help you out with that. Ian, anything you'd add on values here? Or
No, but I've got some questions that have been piling up.
all right, let's take a break and answer some of those questions. Okay. Sounds good.
So the first question would be, can you show us how to change the credit score tiers?
Yes, so we don't trust you to do it yourself, but we may someday. But we can get it set up very simply for you. And so we have a tool internally where we can adjust the tiers for you. But if you just simply submit a support ticket from our homepage and let us know what your tiers are, then we'll get that adjusted for you. As a side note here too, if you click on settings in visible equity, and then portfolio settings and grading tiers. If you have customized grading tiers set up, you'll see them listed here. We don't in this data set, but this is the tool that we use to be able to customize grading tiers. So we can customize credit score grades, bankruptcy score grades, LTV grades, risk scores, etc. So any type of grading or tiered data point in visible equity, we can customize those for you. Good question.
Okay. Next question, can we have, this is back to when you were talking about the saved reports, can we have the same reports automatically generated and saved each month?
Okay, really good question. So let's talk about report packets. And so we've got clients who have literally hundreds of saved reports aside from our hundreds of standard reports. And so you can get a very long list even if you organize your reports very well. First note, saved reports will update each month based on the most recent data you're sending to us. But there are times when you're compiling the same set of reports every month, whether that be for a board meeting, an ALCO meeting, maybe once a year for an exam. You're looking at the same type of data on a regular basis. And so what we've done is we've created a tool called report packets. So this is on the home page. It's not within loans because report packets can consist of individual reports across any module. But from report packets, if you click on the report packets tab, in your institution you'll see at least 2 listed. So I've got 27 here, but each of you will see a standard visible equity exam report and a standard visible equity board report. And so these packets are a compilation of multiple saved reports. So if I'll show you how to build one first. I'll click on create a new packet, and I'll call this webinar example. When you create a packet, you can change the user rights, so you can allow others to view this packet but not edit it, or you can allow others to view and edit. And then ultimately you choose specific reports that you'd like to include in the packet. Let's say I want to look at a few concentrations reports on the auto portfolio. I'll check the boxes here, then move it over to the right side. And so it's a process where you just choose the specific reports, move them over. You only have to do this once, and now it'll stick. So I just selected 5 kind of random reports here, and then I click on Next. And within each report, I can customize it, whether to show the table, the chart, the details, which would be the filters and stratifications that you've selected. You can also adjust the orientation to be landscape or portrait. And then once you click on Save, it'll save to your list of reports. And then I'm going to show you this board report example right now. So once you've selected this report, you can export it to a PDF and choose the specific date that you'd like to view that data. And so I'll go to December 31st, click on Submit, and then a report will generate. Now it's not available instantaneously. It'll take at least a few minutes to download. This will show a history of the downloads. So I'll show you an example of what one looks like here. I'll click on Download and save it to my drive here. And now we'll see this board report. You'll see the title of the packet you've given it, the data as of, your institution logo, a nice table of contents, and then the individual reports. And so, I mean, I personally feel that when we released this report packet functionality a little while ago, that it's pretty groundbreaking, because you now have the ability to present data and your reports in a way that's fully automated, it's consistent, and it's a way that has some flexibility to create reports that actually look really good and you feel confident presenting to your board or senior management. Now, so I think of 2 different situations when you use visible equity. One would be for doing ad hoc type of research where you're getting in and digging into the data and trying to understand what's going on within your portfolio. Other times, you know exactly what you want, and you want to do that on a repeated basis. And that's when you definitely want to utilize the saved reports and the saved packets.
Okay.
So that's a long answer to that question,
yes?
but the answer is yes,
Okay.
you can.
So a related one, Josh's special reports hands off. Cecilia wants to know what's included in that one.
You'd have to ask Josh. I can't disclose
Hands
that.
off, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good one, Cecilia. Okay, couple more questions here. Can you, let's see, sorry, these are moving on me. Can you show us how to change the net worth again?
Absolutely. So I'll do it from the home page. If you click on Settings, Portfolio Settings, and then there's this Institution Total Asset, Net Worth, and Cost of Fund Parameters. You simply click that and then add new institution parameters. Now you do have to be a portfolio admin to do this, and so if you're not an admin at your institution, then you can delegate this responsibility to one of the admins, or they can give you admin access.
Okay. So I think this question came up when you were clicking on a link within a report and you pulled up a list of loans.
Okay.
But the question from Jonathan is, can you get a list of the charge-offs?
Okay, really good question.
Can't from the link, but can you show them how to get a list of charge-offs?
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's if you click on Loan List here, we have not looked at this yet. We drilled down from a concentrations report, but you can also click on Loan List here on the left sidebar. There is a box near the top here where you can change the status from active to charged off or matured or prepaid. So I click on charged off here, and then we can see a list of the charged off loans. And so you would just view toggle through the different statuses there.
Yeah, and you can change the
you can also change the date range. So you can specify if you want to view charge-offs from a specific month or a specific year.
Yeah, and then also you could apply a filter, so you can get at the same subset that you could by clicking on a report through the use of that, going to loan list, charge-off, and then applying the same filter that you would have from the report.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay. How often can the real estate values be updated?
Those are updated monthly with no additional charge. and that goes for all secured loans. So it's not just the real estate loans. We also have an auto valuation model that provides updated auto values each month based on unique depreciation curves that we've built out for each make model combination.
Okay, and I think that's what she was asking, but just in case she was asking a slightly different question, some of the curves or those indices are the underlying data is only updated quarterly.
Right.
With Invisible Equity, we'll update their loans monthly, like you said, but some of those indices are only updated quarterly. The Case-Shiller and the zip code index that you referenced are updated monthly.
Okay, great.
Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss any here. There's one comment. So there's a report packet that one of the attendees is saying is last updated in November of 2015.
Okay.
Those are updated monthly. So I'm not sure if she was referring to your demo set.
Okay, I think I understand the question here. And so these packets will not automatically be generated each month. They're available each month, but they're not automatically generated. And so if you, what you'll need to do after, and the keyword is after here, after your updated data files have been uploaded to Visible Equity and then reconciled, then you go to the report packet. So I can see this last one. You know, this was as of December 31st, which is the most recent month in this data set. But you'll need to click on Export to PDF and select the most recent month, and then click on Submit. Then the new packet will be generated. And so you won't see that automatically. You need to go through that process of exporting it to a PDF.
Okay.
Good question.
Okay. Will you do a concentrations by loan officer?
Yes, and so as you're looking at a report such as concentrations, you can stratify or segment by any data point you send us. So as long as you send us a loan officer code, then you could stratify by loan officer. So now we see a list of all these different loan officers. And as you jump from report to report, so let's go to we'll move to a different section here. We'll go to performance reports and click on delinquency ratios. So now I see each of these different loan officers, what the delinquent balance is, the total balance, and then that delinquency ratio. We're defining delinquency as 60 days late or more. And then if I click on the chart view, I can see the same data in a nice little chart here.
Okay, and that would be, you'd follow the same process for underwriter.
Yeah, same process for underwriter, branch, auto dealer, origination year, you name it. Okay. Now I want to show one, before we get to more questions, I want to show one other area that's really important if you're going to know the basics of Visible Equity. I showed you earlier these predefined categories and subcategories that you can filter down to, but there are times when you'll want to filter down to a specific segment of loans that's more detailed than just the general category. And in those cases, you want to go to this advanced filter. And so within the advanced filter, you can filter by any data point that you send us. And so these are some basic loan characteristics here. You can filter down to specific categories, subcategories, loan types, different grades. You could isolate reports from a specific auto dealer and run reports just on those loans. This functionality is used frequently to create watch lists. So let's say I want to go to residential real estate loans that have a current LTV above, let's do 95%. So I'll do a minimum current loan to value of 95% and click on apply. This will take me down to 12 loans. You could also filter based on delinquency or let's say the most recent credit score. So let's say not only are they above 95%, but their credit score is below a 650. I click on apply, and this will take me down to 6 loans. Now I can click on save filter here, and I'd call this my real estate watch list. Click on save, and now I can run any report based on this watch list. I could go to a loan list, export this watch list, and when I come into visible equity from scratch here, let's look at this list of filters. So since I went to the home page, the filter was reset, but if I go to loan data filter, save filters, I can select the specific watch list that I created. And this will lead me to another report, which is a trends report. So rather than just viewing the data as of the specific date, I can see, if I adjust the count here, as of each month end, how many loans have met the criteria that we set in this watch list. So a credit score below 650 with an LTV above 95%. And so loans month to month will move in and out of this watch list based on the updated credit score data we're getting and based on the updated LTVs. Any other questions coming in?
Lots of questions. I can answer these individually, or we can throw them out. We're at 40 minutes, so you want to show any more?
Yeah, so I just want to do a brief recap of what I've done so far. And really our main goals in a 101 are to make sure that you know how to build a report. And so the two ways of doing that are creating it from scratch and using the saved reports. So those are the two different options. If you're building it from scratch, make sure that you know that you can view the data in two different table formats. You can view it in a chart. You can adjust how you're viewing the data through these stratifications. You can drill down to lists, and you can drill down to detail pages. So it seems simple as you're watching me doing it, but it really is that simple. You just have to think about what you're looking for, and then you can go through each of these different reports and view statistics, delinquency ratios, charge-off ratios, profitability, credit score migration. The same principle applies to most of these reports, where you just select the data that you need to view. You can customize how the data is viewed within that report, and then you export it. So those are the basic steps here. This credit score migration is a huge one, where you're showing the original credit score tiers along the rows and the updated credit scores along the columns. Everything in green represents loans that have improved their credit score by at least one tier. Everything in red has worsened by at least one tier, and then everything in dark blue has two unique scores, but they're still within the same credit score tier. This light blue, this percent with no migration, this means that we don't have two unique scores. It is 100% okay if you have something not reported here. So sometimes clients panic when they see a small percentage that's not reported. That's very normal, especially when you're looking at new loans. So if you have a newly originated loan, you'd expect to have no migration because you only have one score. So Ian, what would you add on this?
Do you want to spend 30 seconds and talk about no score? That's kind of new.
Yeah, so that is a new feature for you veterans that are on the phone. This may be new for you. So we previously did not differentiate between missing data and a true no score or a thin file. So sometimes you're underwriting loans where the borrower truly does not have a credit score. We can now differentiate or identify those that truly don't have a score. By default, we'll say that if the credit score in your data file is 0 or above 9,000, then it's a no score. But we can adjust those by institution. So take a look at the no score information and let us know if you'd like us to adjust that.
Okay, thanks, Rob. Let's hit some questions real fast.
Yeah, sounds good.
Rapid fire. Can you add charge-offs manually?
No.
Okay.
Every data point essentially cannot be added through the site. It needs to be uploaded through a data file. Now with your charge-offs, if they're not stored within your core or you don't receive them from the third party, you can upload a separate charge-off file that you put together as long as it has charge-off, a loan ID, charge-off amount, charge-off date, and some basic loan characteristics.
Okay. Okay, this is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Depreciation tables that you mentioned in the auto values, are those available?
The actual
use in
data.
other, yeah, so Michael
Yeah.
would like to use those for making a loan, but for other uses, are those?
So let me show you this. We in the support area, there's a section called Tools. So from the home page, I went to Support, then Tools. There is a auto evaluator, and so you can input the model, the year, make, model, appraisal date, and appraisal value. Then we'll give you an updated valuation as of the most recent date. We can do the same thing for our real estate values. We also, we're not going to touch on this much, even though I saw a question on this earlier. We have a fair lending product where we can apply the Bayesian improved surname geocoding methodology, or the BISG, to estimate the race or ethnicity of your borrowers based on the address and the last name. So if you're curious about your race, you can click on where you live and what your last name is, and our model will predict the race or ethnicity.
Cool, thank you. Okay, so that was the next one. You answered that one. Race comes from our analysis,
Yeah.
or they can provide it. Are matured loans included or excluded from the active population?
We prefer to see matured loans. We want to make sure that those are excluded. And so if you are seeing closed loans or matured loans in your loan data, then let us know, and we can try to adjust the mapping to make sure that those are flagged as closed.
When you're sharing reports or packages or even filters, is there an option for more than just all or none? Can you select individuals?
Right now, no. That's something that we've talked about, giving more flexibility to choose specific groups of users or specific users to share reports with. But right now, it's all or nothing.
Okay.
That being said, I do have a tip for you. As you're looking at your list of saved reports, you can create unique folders based on different individuals or different departments within your institution to kind of organize reports better that way.
Okay. So maybe touch on, so there may be some confusion on credit scores. So the question says, is every member's credit score updated monthly?
Okay.
Maybe you can talk about integrating with the bureaus and how that data gets in there.
And so unlike real estate values and using this model, there's credit scores are not free. Credit data is not free, and we do not update that on a monthly basis. However, we are integrated with all three credit bureaus, and so we can facilitate an account review through any borrowers, or through any bureau, excuse me. And so we'll take the data that you're sending to Visible Equity on a monthly basis. So the name, address, and social of your borrowers, we can send that to the bureau in the format that they require, receive an updated credit score and additional attributes, and then have those automatically integrated within Visible Equity. We also provide you with that raw data file. So it really is a neat process where we can automate the process and really save you through that hassle, and usually it's done at a price that's either equal to or better than what you'd pay than going directly to the bureau. And so if you're not integrating your credit bureau data with Visible Equity, I really do think it's a no-brainer, because it's really a win-win. And so we have some clients who do that quarterly. Most common is twice a year, and some do it just once a year. But we can definitely facilitate that process.
Great. Maybe spend 5 minutes on the new reporting. And
yeah, so we're going to jump over to Loans Beta now. So this has been out for a couple months now. It's Loan Beta, and we're extremely excited about this type of framework in building reports. We through this, you have a lot more flexibility with how you can build a report, and then let me show you what I mean. So I'm in Loans Beta. Rather than seeing 40 different reports on the left sidebar here, there's one. There's a report builder. And you see right now we see a simple table and a chart. Now if I click on Customize, I can change a few things. You can change the date, of course. You can adjust the filter. I'm going to go to per element, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. And then I've got a report layout. These are all elements on the left side here. And so you've got a table element, a chart, a list, a trend, a box, a matrix report, and a description. And so I can drag a element from the left side to the right side here. You can view up to 4 different items or elements side by side, and you can build your own report here. And so I've just added a few different elements to this report. I'm going to click on Submit, and now you'll see that this report builder has changed. And so you'll see you still have this table on top, but now we have 2 charts side by side. We've got a description section that's blank right now, and then a trend report. Now, each of these specific elements are customizable. And so if you click on this hamburger menu, within each element, you can edit that. And so I mentioned that you can do a per element filter. So I could filter, show one chart specifically on my real estate portfolio, and right next to it show a different report on the auto portfolio. So you have a lot more flexibility than you do in a report packet to organize how these reports are looked and how they're filtered. Now I'm going to, you can adjust the names, you can adjust the show options. I'm going to adjust how this is stratified. We're going to break it down by, instead of by category, let's go by, let's see, let's do, we'll get a little more granular. We'll do subcategory here. And I'll click on Submit. And so now I can see a distribution within the real estate portfolio across these different categories or subcategories. You can add text or some narrative to the report. So I'll call this real estate analysis, and then you can format with bold and italics and all that jazz, and then give it this description of the report. Save that out, and then you can view this text within that report. And so the thought behind this is to give you the flexibility, again, to create your own dashboard-like reports where you can filter by any data point. You can adjust how charts and tables are viewed. You can also do rounding type of options. So within this table, if I wanted to round to the specific dollars or cents, I can with full numbers. Rather than rounding to thousands, I can view the exact dollar amount. So you can adjust different settings within the table settings section. So now I'm viewing the full balances here. So really ultimate flexibility, and eventually, just so you know what our vision is, we're going to add many more elements here, so you can replicate any report that you build within Visible Equity within this report builder structure. So we're going to be adding new production, static pool, migration elements, scatter plot charts. So you'll be able to really create, the sky's the limit on the number of reports that you'll be able to build and different combinations within this report builder. Ian, anything you'd add on the report builder?
Well, no, I think we can end with this question. Okay. It's a common one. Are we going to have access to the original reports once Loan Beta goes live?
All right, so we'll make sure that saved reports that you've created are transferred over. I think I'd ask you, Mr. Product Manager, okay, what the answer is on
well,
that.
Yeah, so I would say we won't shut off the old until all functionality is available in the new, okay, or can be replicated in the new. I say all, I mean probably mostly all. There's some functionality that's pretty obscure, obsolete in the old that we won't carry forward, but the vast majority we won't turn off until it's replicable. That's a word in the new. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, you're not going to lose anything here. there's a good chance that there will be a complete switch eventually. Don't know the exact timing on that, but you'll have saved reports for these as well. And so if I look within Loan Beta here, we have one example of a saved report here that I'll show you, this portfolio summary that shows a nice dashboard looking report. It takes a second to load here. While it's loading, I'll just tell you how we're going to create a whole library of saved reports. And so every simple report that you're used to on the standard loan product right now, we'll have those all saved out. So if you want to go straight to a credit score migration report without building it from scratch, you'll still be able to do that. But here's a nice looking saved report here where we've got some summary boxes, different charts, tables, etc.
Well, thank you very much, Rob. We are going to give away one more swag.
Nice.
Item. And so we're going to do this one a little bit differently. Okay, so I think there were 170 people attending today's webinar. So we're going to take number 20. Okay, so kind of like the call into a radio show, caller number 20 of how would you rate your knowledge of CECL? That will be next week's webinar. Rachel will be hosting that webinar.
So this is the scale of 1 to 10?
No.
Everyone's giving numbers.
Okay, well it doesn't matter because the 20th person, yeah. So 1 to 10, sure. 1 is, yeah, like let's actually use descriptors like pretty good or average or thank you. Okay. All right, let's see who won. We got a crazy crowd here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ian's counting to 20, so it could take a bit here, but we'll get there.
18, 19. Mary Wood.
Mary Wood, you're a winner.
Okay.
Caller number 20.
Caller number 20. So, hey, thanks everyone for joining us. We're up against the hour, so we're going to end. If you do have questions that maybe are unique to your portfolio or that didn't get answered today, please open up a support ticket or give us a call because we'd love to spend the time necessary to answer those. And we'll post this recording as well so you can go back if we went through certain functionalities too fast or some of the new reporting we went through a little fast. So we'll record that and you can watch it at your leisure.
All right, so Mary and Walter, pick an item from our swag store that you can see from our homepage before you log in, and we'll get that sent out to you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.